Hey everyone, things have been heating up in crypto and we're starting to see some charts that look like this, pretty much parabolic. But before we do some shitcoinery, we of course have to go through the majors and we're gonna start with Bitcoin because as you can see here, this is the weekly chart. Let me just zoom out a bit. We are closing in on a fourth week of straight green. This move from the bottom has been already quite profitable for us, 35%, and currently we are above this major level of around 32k, and it seems like this has not stopping. And honestly, there only one thing that is starting me to get a little bit worried, and first of all, that's all the shitcoins that we're starting to see that pop off and pull up crazy multiples, but also I'm starting to see the sentiment not only by myself and by all the discourse that I'm in, but also on Twitter. It seems like people are getting a little bit overexcited. There are always good reasons for this in the past few weeks, and I completely understand. But the moment people start getting overexcited and over leveraged and feeling FOMO because a lot of people missed this move, I think that's when the market could potentially punish everybody. And honestly, I hope this plays out. I think there are a couple of scenarios right now. I don't see us going below 32k, to be honest, unless something major happens. But at these levels, I would love to see after 4 green weeks and after everybody's getting bullish, I would love to see something like this, maybe for a week or two. We stay here and then we just collapse for a quick bounce through here, where this will be, I think, one of the best scenarios to play out in the coming weeks. And I'll tell you what are my plans if this or the other scenario that I'm looking into happens. So this is, if I could call it, a more bearish scenario, but I do hope we get some kind of a cool off because really things have been getting out of control, in my opinion, just a little bit. The other scenario is that we don't really get this. If we just get a pause here and then maybe again keep grinding up and then price gets to, let's say, 45k, is where I'm seeing as a potential place where we might have a correction. And keep in mind that if this second scenario plays out, and maybe we don't even get this break, maybe we get something like this, especially if stocks continue to fly higher. This will get pretty parabolic, even on Bitcoin. And even if we just have this trend line here, you can see the angle of this trend line. And in the last several weeks, we've been already like pretty parabolic. There's no way we can put this otherwise. It's great for us, but again, I would want to see some more healthy price action, or just another rip to the upside, and we can take profits here more. I would say with a clear mind that we're gonna see probably a correction at some point, and it all depends if it's gonna be here and if it's gonna be somewhere in this year around 45 to 50k. I think is a high probability area that price could reject. And of course, it's going to depend on a lot of things. The holiday season is over. It's not over. It's just starting. The ETF where everybody is expecting it. We don't know if it's going to come this year or next year. There are all kinds of things that can happen. But I think, all of this calculated in all the equations, I think these are the two most probable scenarios right now. And I honestly don't mind both of them. I have plans for each of them, and we're gonna discuss this because mostly I'm well positioned into Bitcoin and Ethereum, and I'm not looking to add. I'm probably just gonna be taking profits if we just rip through here, and maybe I'll add on this little dip, but honestly I'm more interested in some altcoins here if we get this kind of a dip. And just a quick thing that I wanted to add here, what this reminds me of currently before all the drawings, let me just remove them, is something like here. So we had an area here where price ripped. We broke through a major level here around 10k. Let me just show you. So we broke through this level after 4 or 5 green weeks. Everybody got euphoric. Then price just consolidated, retested the 10k area, and then we ripped higher. And you can see that was pretty parabolic on Bitcoin, and this could keep going parabolic, for the current price action, because the second thing that I see if this is number 1 here as potential play out. This I think could be number 2. So we just rip higher even for more weeks in a row, and then we get some kind of a correction. And keep in mind, this was quite a shallow correction here, but still it scared a lot of people off. It was like 20% correction. So maybe we get several more weeks of green, because these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 green weeks. Then we get the scare, maybe confluence with the ETF announcement. We'll see, but I think these are quite high likely to play either this one or this one. Obviously nothing is the same, and this from previous cycle, but it looks pretty similar right now, honestly, with the sentiment and everything. It looks pretty similar, and with some altcoins starting to pop off early in this potential bull market that we're seeing to develop. Ethereum, we got some good catalysts last week for Ethereum. There will probably be an ETF for Ethereum at some point, because BlackRock is applying for it. It's not like me and you are applying. It's the biggest asset manager, and give us a lot of confidence, this one. And it was a catalyst last week. We on the daily, you can see here, we had a pop, and we currently closed quite convincingly on the weekly above this 2K level that was resistance for quite a while, and we did have a fake out here. And these kind of fake outs, if you have a double fake out, it's not really common, honestly. So I'm thinking that we will probably go higher, but again, it all depends what happens with Bitcoin. I don't think Ethereum will trade differently from Bitcoin, even in these conditions. And again, you can see pretty fat green candles on the weekly, but the close is here. So for now, I'm in a watch and see move on Ethereum. My cost basis from my ads, because I do have plenty of Ethereum from the previous cycle, but the last ads were somewhere in this area, and I'm quite comfy here. I don't need to rush into Ethereum. Again, if you've missed this, I think it might be a better setup just technically compared to Bitcoin, because we have this major level. We are retesting it right now on the daily, and you can see we're even bouncing, and there's some wicks here. So this means that there's buying pressure, and people respect this as support. It's turning into support. And now, no matter what the target is for you on Ethereum, this could be a good risk to reward here. It's 2.4%. If you want to give it some wiggle room, and even to the pivot low here is like around 10%, I would say. And then if you're targeting, I think the next major level on the weekly is around 2500, because on the daily it's quite messy up there. It's hard, and this has been like 2 years ago almost. There's a lot of price action here, but it kind of hard to take this as resistance on the daily. But on the weekly, I think it's pretty clear, because here you can, on the daily, you can say 24, 23, but for me it's the 25 level, and it's again major, relatively round number that people will look into, and I think that's a good target. But Ethereum is definitely starting to shape good, and with this we've seen also some altcoins popping, and actually this chart looks pretty much similar for many coins. And let me tell you what my plans are, because I do have some outbacks. They've been underperforming massively, but I think sooner or later the tides will shift for these. And yeah, I'm just gonna do a rundown and tell you what are my goals. But pretty much GMX, very powerful move here. It seems like it's trending, it's shifting the trend here, and this is pretty much where I would be looking to buy. So I'm not currently interested in buying a lot of altcoins. I do have a trade open, which we're going to discuss in a bit, but at this stage, after 4 weeks, and a lot of altcoins have pushed higher, and some of them are at resistance like GMX, I do want to add a bit more to my GMX. But even if this goes higher, so let's say we get something like this, and then we have a correction, this is where I want to buy. I want to buy on the leg down, because I don't really like buying after so many weeks of green. And I think it will get a better opportunity. These don't just go straight up. Some do, but usually you have better risk management if you wait for a correction and for a better setup to show in a trending bull market. There will be legs up, but yes, there will be a legs down, where for me it's the more important thing to see. And pretty much across all the charts that we're gonna scroll through, let me just show you how this looks. So we have a major leg down, we have a lower high, we have a lower low, And here we have the first sign that the trend is shifting, but still lower high. And then we have a higher low, and then we have our first higher high compared to this one. And now I'm looking for the third confirmation to get in, and that's the higher low here, somewhere in this area. Obviously, it might not be exactly here, but this is where I would be looking to enter, especially with the confluence, with this support level around 43 bucks. So I'm not gonna do this for all the charts, but you kind of get the point. And I'm looking to add, obviously, to GMX. Matic has been ripping. I'm not looking to add to this position. It's a quite core position for me in the portfolio. Probably I might even switch away from Matic to some other layer 2s. Haven't decided, but again, you can see the similar chart pattern. Magic, exactly the same thing. Now it's currently at major resistance, but it's starting to shift the trend. This is my area of interest for Magic, so I hope we get a correction here. STG, same thing, pushing higher with a little bit help of the layer 0 narrative. This one, you can also do this. It looks very clean. And now I'm just waiting for a retrace, probably around this area here, around 50 cents. And that's also, a level of interest here. On the weekly, we have some support here forming around 50 cents, and it's a round number. So you know all of these things already. I'm looking into Arbitrum also to add because I don't have Arbitrum currently, but this might be a long-term back for me around these levels. Optimism also looking not too terrible. I'm not sure we're gonna get this low, but a retracement somewhere around here, or potentially another leg, and then confirmation that this here will hold. Again, I think it's not a terrible spot place to buy. And I wanted to discuss Big Time, because Big Time is a position that I entered for a trade. This is a really small cap gaming token, and they have pretty good game. I've done the fundamental thing, and it looks pretty solid. It's a brand new token, and you see there's pretty much no back holders. I entered somewhere, where was it? Somewhere around here. So we had the first initial push, and this is my theory. So we had the leg down, obviously, and then we started shifting structure. So we had the initial push. There was a lot of volume, and I mean, this is a 13 million market cap coin, and it was trading at some point at like 30-40 million dollars per day. Has great exchange diversification, and this was the first pretty much shift in the trend, and then we stuck here for a higher low, and pretty much like the others, I decided to enter, because this looked like a shift in the trend. We obviously had some shenanigans here with the announcement of ETH ETF. I didn't get stopped out because this is a spot buy for me, but you can see it was just weird price action on that day. Anyway, the trend is still intact. We're now again in a higher low territory and potentially a higher high. Today is a green day for Big Time, but I'm thinking to hold this a little bit longer. The invalidation could be moved here, because my initial invalidation was here around 13 cents. I think if we drop here below 14, it kind of starts to get shaky, and potentially, this could be the start of an accumulation, and potentially this could have a better entry in the future, and again another setup in the future. But if this thing starts to rip, I will probably take my cost basis out, and I will seriously consider leaving a big runner for a bull market because of several factors. Like I said, the market cap, there's a hype in gaming currently. A lot of high tokens in gaming are popping. This one is lagging actually quite a bit, and it's just a good narrative. There's no back holders here, unlike some of the gaming tokens that have been pumping. So definitely quite an interesting play. They have a good game. It's almost ready, pretty much good gameplay. And I've talked with gamers. They like it. They actually like playing it. So there are a lot of factors here that I'm looking into. But I have a relatively small position. Keep this in mind. This is not going to be a major position for me. But I might consider, if it doesn't, fake out here, I might consider leaving this for much bigger moves. And actually this reminds me of a theme that I'm seeing currently on the charts, and that is that new tokens are flying out right from the doors. Like for example, Meme is a token that launched on Binance a few weeks ago, and you can see the price action here after a small correction on the 4-hour chart. After some correction and some consolidation, it just started making, again, shifting the trend and making higher highs, higher lows. And currently on the day, it's like 20% up. Obviously, I'm not sure if this is going to be sustainable. And you can see the volume spike here also. But these are signs that we need to pay attention for all the tokens that are starting to get listed. But honestly, I'm not going to chase these pumps right now, because as I said, I'm thinking that we might get a correction, and that, this is starting to get a little bit overheated. And there's one meme coin that is pretty much blowing everybody out of the water. But just to give you another example, that is Celestia. That's another new token that launched recently with great exchange diversification. And actually, this project is quite interesting. So, I would recommend you guys spend some time researching. But you can see it here on this is a 4-hour chart, keep in mind. So this is a 2 weeks old project. You can see this is the daily chart. And on the 4-hour, it just had a little bit of accumulation, and then it started popping, volume started increasing. And you can see here that from the breakout, it's already like 82% up in just a few days. So that's great to see. And this is not a small cap token. This is already at around 2.5 billion or 3 billion, or I don't remember, but it's quite a big token, and you can see what's happening. Same thing with the last Bitcoin Binance Launchpad project, which is called Neutron, I think. Again, you can see here, just exactly the same pattern. So keep this in mind. Good to see also some tokens that are correcting, like Caspa. This is one on my main watch list. Clean breakout. Now it's correcting after its parabolic move. So, just keep an eye on all of these tokens. And, I think this is the best time to start making your lists and start, choosing where you want to enter. For example, Lido is also not looking terrible. Similar to, the others, it has even a little bit more green weeks in a row. But the correction here, after it has started to shift the trend, I think could be a good long-term entry, because Lido, together with the news for the ETH, ETF, I think this could be massive. This could be a very good leveraged play. I've mentioned this before, but just keep this in mind. I'm also doing a personal list for smaller projects that are below 50 million of market cap, and I'll probably have like a little portfolio of these, like moonshots for 100,000x plays. Just start looking into the market, keep looking into the fundamentals. I've been putting a lot of hours into this. And I think this is one of the best times to do this, because we're still early. Although there are signs of the trend accelerating, trust me, if the Bitcoin narrative plays out for the ETF and everything, and I haven't even talked about ordinals, I probably need to do a separate videos about this, but just keep an eye, because I think we're getting to the best time when it comes to risk to reward to start entering. Because down here, let's say on Ethereum, down here things were looking shaky. Maybe this was the best time to accumulate in the past month or so, but down here the things were looking shaky and it wasn't really clear what's going to happen. But now if we get a correction, I think it will be a great entering opportunity. And actually I wanted to show you the biggest gainer for this year for me, and that's this little Grok shitcoin, which turned out not into a shitcoin but into a kind of a major project. This is a meme coin based on the AI tool that Elon Musk is developing for Twitter, if I'm not mistaken. I caught this somewhere around 10 million market cap, if I remember correctly. I put some like $500 because I was like, what the hell, this has already pumped. So let me just show you the 4-hour chart. This had already pumped somewhere around here, and I was like, I'm not really going to risk this. But this has turned into a nice multi-bagger already. But I think it has still more fuel, and it's been one of the biggest gainers in the last few weeks, especially people that caught it early, because I caught it honestly quite late at 10 million market cap. A lot of people caught it earlier, but you can see it's starting to accelerate, and this is still not on any major exchange. So if this gets a listing, I think we could see something like Pepe. And if you don't remember what Pepe did, let's just look at it. It was, imagine we're somewhere around here, on this Grok. I'm not telling you to buy it. I'm not buying. I'm actually selling at these prices. But I'm leaving a runner just in case this thing wants to pull out a Pepe, because it has several things on its side, like AI narrative. Elon Musk, and every time he tweets something about Grok, it just goes nuts. Meme coin is in place. We can see meme coins. Meme coin season is in place. We see meme coins popping. Even Pepe had a little bit of a run last week, and now it's correcting. But I think there's a good narrative for this one to play out. But again, I'm not buying this price action, guys. Just keep this in mind. I'm not buying this. I'm just telling you for things to look for on the market. I already gave you several ideas, and just go do your own research, and maybe we get another continuation. And even if you don't catch these memes, that's fine. There's plenty of opportunity, and this is the moment where you need to narrow down your focus, because you cannot be everywhere, and you will be missing a lot of opportunity. That's everything for this video and for this update. If you have any questions or anything, you know how to find me.